Hello again, we're back with episode 2, and I just wanted to say that, first of all, I did get a complaint last time that I was kind of dragging it out too much with that intro portion, and granted that was just supposed to be kind of a one-time thing, just sort of lay the groundwork for what we're going for here, but I get it, it did go on a while, so I just wanted to say up front, rest assured, no more giving you my life story, just the episode of the day from here on out. So, and anyway, speaking of which, we left on a cliffhanger last time, so, okay, we had Nightmare Moon, she returned, and she'd come down, she'd taken over their festival just to scare them up, tell them that she was back, she'd come to take over, and so did her evil laugh on the stage and cut, cliffhanger. So we come back, she's still on stage, and the guards, they try to seize her, take her down, and she brushes them away. She gets to steal Maleficent's line, "Stand back, you fools," haha. So, anyway. Okay, so she gets away just as like a beam of magic smoke, and Twilight then, she runs back to her house to get to what she was trying to study before, the elements of harmony, the magic devices that the princess, the older sister of Nightmare Moon, used to defeat her before. So she comes to read about that. They write Spike out right away, her little baby dragon assistant, friend, brother, whatever. So he, I guess, is just the sidekick. He falls right to sleep because, and he's been up all night, is their excuse, he's a baby, so he's out of the story. And so, but the other 5, the main characters, they all follow her back because they realize that she knows something about this, so she probably knows how to take Nightmare Moon down, and or at least what's going on. And Rainbow Dash, who's the brash, impetuous type, again gets right in her face, like, how did you know about this? You're in a league with her, aren't you? Just to, if we haven't already established that she's really in your face. But anyway, though, but the rest, they pull her back, they say, of course not, but she does know what's going on. So we take a minute to, she pulls out a book, and they read about the elements of harmony, how there are 5 of them, and the 6th one, there's supposed to be a 6th one, but it's unknown. So she goes through the list of the heroic traits we're going to be covering, and I like how they find the book too. Pinkie Pie just pulls it out of nowhere, like Twilight apparently has been looking all over the place for it, and how did you find it? It was under E. So, I mean, probably a typical sort of joke, but it got a laugh at me, so anyway. So they take off to the place that the elements are supposed to be located in, the castle that the 2 sisters used to rule in when there were 2 of them before the other one was banished, and it's in the deep, dark, mysterious forest, so, of course. But meanwhile, though, Nightmare Moon, still in her magic smoke form, I guess, she spies on them, she hears that that's what they're going for, so she follows them along to try to find ways to stop them from making any more progress, and so that's our conflict. The 6 they're traveling on, and Nightmare Moon tries to stop them with a bunch of different trials, I guess, and so each one of them gets to show their strengths in overcoming each separate trial. So first, she just causes the cliff they're on to crumble, so I like that. Not too cryptic, just drop the ground out from under them, let them plunge to their death. So, but 2 of them can fly, Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy, so they're fine, and they split to save the others, but they get to Pinkie Pie and Rarity first. So Applejack, she manages to grab a root, she saves herself, but Twilight, not so much. She slides all the way to the edge of the cliff, and, well, I mean, it's like there's a drop, but then there's a little bit more of a cliff, so lucky her. But she slides to the end of that and grabs onto the ledge, so Applejack has to let go, slide forward, grab onto her, and so yeah, she has her legs holding legs, however that works, but anyway, so she's holding on, Twilight's like, oh, what do I do? And Applejack looks around, she's like, you let go, and we get that scene where, I promise you, if you let go, you will be safe. Nice and cryptic, instead of course, saying that Rambo and Fluttershy have finished saving the other 2, so you just need to let go and they're gonna catch you. No, she just has to say, I promise, you will be okay. And so, drop of faith, and they catch her, and there we go. So, that's Applejack's shining moment. I guess she kind of got shortchanged there, but anyway, so, I mean, that was fine, for what it was. So, then Nightmare Moon gets a manticore to attack them, a lion with a scorpion tail, so nice use of mythical creatures there, because that is a real legendary creature. They didn't just make that up, so very nice. Anyway, the manticore is now, she works it up into a charging frenzy, and we don't know how yet, but because that's going to be the payoff. And so she charges them, and we actually get a fight scene in My Little Pony. That'll break the mold. That'll be your big statement. Yeah, we're not just for little girls anymore. But of course, it starts out with Rarity, who she kicks it in the face, so it roars at her and messes up her hair. The oldest joke in the book. But okay, so there's that. Applejack and Rainbow Dash try to take it on, like spinning a tornado around it almost, which that was kind of cool. But then ultimately, Fluttershy, who's whispering the whole time, too shy to say stop for a second, she finally gets fed up, screams just wait, and then goes up to it, and yeah, just I guess works her animal loving magic on it, and it so raises up its hand. They think it's gonna take a slash at her, but instead, she rubs it with her nose, and so yeah, it shows her its paw, and there's a thorn in it, so that was the big trick. So Fluttershy just pulls it out, and then they're friends, so okay, that's all. That Fluttershy gets to snuggle the Manticore, like, oh, you're just a big kitty cat, so okay. But no, that was actually a lot of fun. So they carry on. Twilight asks her, how did you know? I didn't, but sometimes we all just need to be shown a little kindness, and kindness is one of the 6 elements, so guess where this is going. Anyway, so next up, let's see, it's, they go into the woods, and so this time Nightmare Moon, who had turned herself into a thorn for that last one, interesting, but anyway, just a thorn too, she's that big. Anyway, so she flies into the trees, and this time she splits herself and makes all of them form these terrifying mouths of like thorns and I don't know, bark that they look like monsters. So everyone's really scared except for Pinkie Pie, who starts just laughing at them and like making fun of them. So they ask her, "What are you doing? Run from the evil trees! Trees are totally gonna do something." So then though she said, "Oh girls, don't you see?" and starts breaking into a song, and they play that. It's pretty funny how they play that, like she in between each line. Tell me she's not. She is. But actually just a song about how when she was young, I think it was her grandma just always say, you need to stand up and face your fears and laugh at them. They're just ghosts. They can't hurt you. Laugh. So, and of course, because Pinkie Pie is laughter. That's her strong suit. So, anyway, but it's actually, it's kind of a sweet scene, actually. They just kind of all start to like come together, feel better, laughing it up together, and they laugh it up all the way to the next trial, which is this one's Rarities, and of course the very effeminate sea monster has had its mustache sliced off, and so he's throwing a fit, and he's causing tidal waves or whatever in the lake or not the lake, the river, I guess, that they have to cross, and so they can't cross while he's doing that, and everybody else has the reaction you should have to that, like the sea monster's crying about its mustache. That's the next challenge. But Rarity gets right on. Oh, this is a crime against fashion. She starts buttering it up like, oh, your skills are so nice. You've got a manicure, all that, but it's all ruined without your mustache. I will not let it go uncorrected. But the one actually pretty funny thing they have about this scene is that once she says, I will not let this go uncorrected, she just tears a sharp scale out of his body, and so he just, what are you doing? And she winds up, and then just downward slash, we don't see what she slashed, and he goes, ah, and falls down, and it's like, and I think this was just meant for the adults here, it's like, I will not let this go uncorrected, you must die, because then that's what it comes across like for a split second, but of course it's not. She's actually sliced off her tail so she can make him a new half mustache out of that, so I don't know, I guess he doesn't mind that his mustache is 2 different colors as long as it's the same shade. But, and that's supposed to be a great gift from her that's, well, more about that later. So anyway, he's grateful, he helps them get across, and that was kind of, well, okay, so never mind. Next is, let's see, that's Rainbow Dash, I think. Yeah, this is the last one. Okay, so they get to a bridge that has been cut, and so Rainbow Dash, of course, she can fly, so she flies across to tie it back, but this time Nightmare Moon has turned herself into, I guess, a team called the Shadow Bolts, because Rainbow Dash, remember, wants to be part of the Wonder Bolts, the best flyers in the land, and so Nightmare Moon forms her own team out of herself, just 3 different herselves, and so anyway, so she starts kind of buttering Rainbow Dash up, telling her, we all know you're the best flyer in the land, and we want you to be our captain, but for some reason we need you to not help them, just forget about tying the bridge for them, and come with us. And so yeah, we get that just drawn out. She actually, this was kind of, I mean, did up the tension a little bit. She closes the clouds that are kind of surrounding the bridge so Rainbow can't hear her friends anymore. And so she thinks it over for a minute, and there's another cliche I don't think ever happened. She says, Rainbow Dash says, you. What, you or us? Or them or us? You. I mean, thank you, but I actually mean I am going to side with them. I'm going to turn you down and tie off the bridge. I mean, and who said, I don't know, who would start the sentence that way, but okay, so yeah, she's not backstabbing her friend. She turns down what would have been a great offer if it weren't the evil villain just in disguise. But anyway, she ties up the bridge, they go across, and they find the old castle. So they go in, the Elements of Harmony, which are just these stone orbs with different symbols on them, they're right there. So Twilight, though, there's only 5, they need to get the 6th one, so Twilight sits down and tries to sort of fiddle with them with her magic, and of course they all say, like, come on, y'all, she needs, this is Applejack, y'all, she needs to concentrate. They walk out and, of course, leave her totally by her lonesome. I mean, there's no need for that anyway. You could just say what happens next just happened and they just couldn't stop it. But, of course, they need to leave her by herself for no reason, so anyway, and of course that means that Nightmare Moon then makes her move. She does a smoke tornado, and so that's how Nightmare Moon gets around magic smoke. So she pops up, she like spins around the elements, and Twilight, who's trying to close her eyes, perform magic on them, she opens them, realizes what's happening, and makes a dive to grab them, but I mean that just leaves her and the elements in the tornado, which then poof disappears, and the other 5, they run back in, they look around, and they spot, I guess, the next part of the castle. There's something's happening there. They see bright lights flashing, so that means that that's where Nightmare Moon has taken them. And so yeah, she's got the elements. Twilight is standing on the other side of the room, and they actually have this pretty clever little moment where Twilight, you know, she winds up, she starts stamping the ground like she's gearing up to fight Nightmare Moon, and Nightmare Moon, of course, it's just, you're kidding, right? Like, how can you beat Nightmare Moon, the most powerful, whatever, the super powerful darkness horse unicorn? And so, but Twilight, nope, she charges, so Nightmare Moon gears up and comes to meet her charge, but actually, that's not what Twilight had in mind. She fakes her out, like, right at the last second when they're about to meet. She teleports, because that's one of Twilight's tricks she can do, teleports right to the elements, which Nightmare Moon had just charged away from, so pretty clever. And then she makes one last bid to create the spark that the book said needed to happen to form the 6th element, and so she just lights up her magic horn and does the same, like, I guess it's kind of weird how that works. I guess the magic just, like, sends her magic around the orbs, and a spark does happen. It shoots her back, so it looks like they're about to see the day saved. Nightmare Moon, who's run over to stop her, is now surrounded by the glowing elements, but then they just stop, and just like complete reversal, she stamps, smashes all 5 of them, and is about to give her big villain, "You thought you could defeat me" speech. But then, though, Twilight hears the other 5 coming, because, I mean, they spotted where this was happening. They're right behind them. So, and then we see a spark, the same kind of spark symbol that the elements had a second ago, go off in her eyes, and she's now it's time for the big hero dramatic speech. Yeah, you think you can destroy the elements of harmony, but the spirits of them are right here, and all of them just appear in the shot at once. And so then Twilight, total heart of the card speech, goes on about, let's see, yeah, we all represent the elements of harmony here. Applejack is honesty because she told me the truth that I wasn't going to die. She saved me, or she reassured me. And then Fluttershy, of course, is kindness, and because of showing kindness to the Manticore. Pinkie Pie is laughter, self-explanatory. Rarity is generosity because she gave the serpent a meaningful gift. And Rainbow Dash is loyalty because she would not backstab her friends. And then we get the title drop here that, like, what about the sixth element? The spark didn't work, but it did. I felt it when I realized that you all are my friends, and that creates the sixth element of magic. Friendship is magic. So, okay, so then sixth orb does appear, and I mean the magic light show starts going off. Well, it's been going off. The elements or the stone fragments are surrounding each of the ponies and unicorns and Pegasuses, and so yeah, they all get a piece, and then I guess finishes it up. What was that? Well, I think that was the last part. The spark, the elements united by the spark creates the element of magic. So then, yeah, they fire up the Doom Wave. The magic rainbow shoots out. Twilight goes into the Avatar state. Her eyes light up, and just encircles Nightmare Moon, blows her away, and so then they've saved. Everyone now has a magic necklace, or in Twilight's case, a crown. Okay, so then the good princess shows up, Princess Celestia, who has been off screen this whole time, and she says that, yeah, this was totally my plan. I knew this was how it had to happen, that you had to make some friends and for this to work out, so, and I guess, you know, she's been through this before, so we have to accept that that's what happened, but, anyway, so then she goes up to Nightmare Moon, who's been transformed back into her sister, Princess Luna, and she offers her to take her back, let her rule side by side with her like it was supposed to be, and all that, and they embrace right away. We have that great moment with Pinkie Pie where they're all like, is she going to accept? And Pinkie Pie falls flat on her face because she's leaning too far forward. Again, just the timing, but anyway, so, but she accepts it right away, they reunite, great big party now, everybody gets to celebrate Princess Luna coming back, and then because Twilight is all upset that she would have to go back to where she lives because the mission is over, leave her friends behind, Celestia then declares that no, she gets to stay in Ponyville, and she gets to also study the magic of friendship, and send her reports about that now. So, okay, so anyway, that's our premise, so I guess hopefully it won't be 6 separate stories for each character in every episode from now on, so less to summarize, but anyway, so what did I think of this one? Well, I said the last one was really good, and I think the momentum does carry over. This one is pretty good too, but surprisingly, it's the payoff this episode where I feel like there's a few more ups and downs. Like, most of it was pretty good. I thought, like I said, most of these adventures I said were pretty good, but as I said, there was the thing with Applejack where, mixed feelings on that. I mean, Applejack does sort of get to show how reassuring she is, but even though she could have just said, like, hey, Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy are right below you, they're going to catch you, or Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy could have flown up and no conflict. But, although, the one thing, I mean, that I'm a little confused on, she's the element of honesty. Why? That's not connected to really anything we've seen, it's just like they figured, you know, why not? I mean, there hasn't been any evidence that she's not, so let's do that. I mean, I guess Applejack isn't one that screams any particular trait, like Fluttershy is obviously kindness, Pinkie Pie, laughter, joy, Rainbow Dash, and loyalty. I think that works really well because, I mean, I don't know if that has any, like, backlash, any objections, but if you've ever had this type of friend, I mean, usually someone who has a strong personality, who's really brash, really bold. They can be obnoxious, but I mean, two-way street. It also works in their favor, like when somebody tries to get them to sort of betray their values, you know, that's where a strong personality, I think, actually really helps someone. Like, they have less of a problem saying, like, forget it, you don't tell me how it is, you don't tell me what to think, I'm gonna stick with it, I'm gonna like who I like, and, you know, heck with you. So, I think that really fits. That's actually pretty nice. But, anyways, but I don't think Applejack's makes a whole lot of sense, and I don't think Rarity's makes a whole lot of sense. Like, she's generous. That, in fact, in the episodes I saw before this one, that whether to convince me whether to do this series or not, she seemed like she was kind of selfish. So, like, she had to, that was the lesson she had to learn, not to be selfish. So generosity is her strength. Like, she should almost trade with Applejack, really, because I mean, the first thing we see Applejack do is be really generous with Twilight, and the first thing Rarity does, I mean, you could pass this off as be brutally honest, so, I don't know, but they're stuck with it, so we'll see. But, anyway, but otherwise, I thought it was really good. I thought, I said last time that Pinkie Pie wasn't very funny. This time she is, although her big scene with the trees and stuff, that was actually more of a sweet kind of scene. I was surprised at that, but, I mean, yeah, that was more of a bringing everyone together. They're all shuddering, and instead they come together to, like, laugh it up together. They reassure each other, and it's, you know, it's a bonding moment. It's pretty sweet. So, okay, and even more so than Fluttershy's, it was a sweet scene where Fluttershy's, ironically, was more of a funny scene because, yeah, she's snuggling a giant manticore, calling it a cute little kitten, and licks her face off. She walks away with their usual hair over her face. Now it's slicked back in a mohawk, so that was kind of funny. But no, Fluttershy, she makes sense as the element of kindness. Pinkie Pie, laughter, that all makes sense. So I already said that. But anyway, and I didn't talk about Twilight much last time either, but I did want to say that I think they played her pretty well. Like, because I think with this kind of thing, somebody doesn't think friends are worth their while. That's usually played as like a cliche. Like, everybody's like, oh, it's so wonderful to have friends, and they're like, I don't know, Grumpy from the Seven Dwarfs, like, heh, I don't think so. I see no evidence. I reject the friendship cult. But instead they play it a little more three-dimensionally. You know, Twilight is someone who, I mean, has a job that they're really wrapped up in, or a hobby or something like that, where it takes up most of her time. She's really buried in it. I mean, she feels like if she turns away from it, she's going to lose ground, so she's legitimately worried about that, and I think that's kind of identifiable. So, I mean, she, like, doesn't have anything against ponies who want to be friends. I almost said people there, but no, she just, I mean, it's legitimately not something that's at the top of her list of things to worry about. So, and now she gets what she's been missing out on in spades and discovers that it's kind of nice. So, yeah, that's identifiable, I think, and that's sweet. I mean, that's, I think, something I'm sure a lot of people appreciated, that maybe helped this following light up a little bit. So, okay, so they played that pretty well. Okay, so what else? Let's see, like I said, there were a few cheesy moments, like the leaving Twilight alone with the elements for no reason. Rarity scene, like you might have picked up that I thought it was a little bit cheesy, other than that one moment. But, so, overall, still pretty good. I mean, because of the following this show has, I'm assuming there's going to be more good episodes than bad, so, I mean, so far as it seems, it's at least, I think, up there with, so far, with Phineas and Ferb, shows like that, you know, I'm not gonna become a die-hard fan of, but I think are good, you know, fun to watch. But, although I did, you know, also see one of the things that made me think that this might be a fun little series to do with the back and forth perspective, was CR's comment in a Nostalgia Critic video, I think it was, where he said that Season 3 was just this abomination, this travesty, and that everybody, well, a lot of people in the comments section, from what I skimmed, they kind of seemed to back him up, like say, oh yeah, it was a sellout, it was a big drop the ball moment. So, and I mean, you know, usually that's, a fan base will overblow stuff a lot, so I mean, it's probably not that bad, but I mean, they're not saying that for nothing, so, you know, we'll see if the plot thickens. So, but so far so good as is. That's all I got. I'll see you at the next one.